And now for the thrilling finale as the Luris, or what is it, the Herald goes flying past. It's going to be Demons of Tzeentch versus the Dark Elves for Borain versus Rider Rohan. And let's see what we've got going on here. Double Exalted Flamer led by a Herald of Slaanesh. That's what I was looking for. Seekers. Plus we've got the Plague Bearers up front. Yeah, Seekers on the flanks and in the rear. A Fury of Khorne. And another Fury of Khorne. As for the Dark Elves, Supreme Sorceress of Shadows, and a nice wide build, plenty of Bleak Swords, Black Ark Corsairs, we've got Dread Spears, Dark Riders, and yeah, that's basically it. The Scourge Chariots as well is an interesting choice here. Generally a very good unit. Let's see how they can do. Exalted Flamer's going to come forward and immediately start making their presence felt, shooting their big old flames here, and yeah, these Scourge Chariots definitely want to pull back. They can, to not be taking too much counterfire. I guess their range is relatively similar. What is it? Got 150 range? Yeah, 150 range. Okay, so their range is actually exactly the same. Rider Rohan's going to go for a quick hit and run charge here on these Plague Bearers, but Plague Bearers are very thick. And let's see if the Chariots are able to actually cleanly disengage here. I guess with the sword screen, they were able to. And taking some pretty significant damage. Those Exalted Flamers, definitely no joke. Punishing the Dark Elves kind of short range. Big old chaotic engagement getting underway here. And the Seekers and the Furies cutting in from the side. Dark Riders trying to respond wherever they can. It's a big old mess. Yeah, we've got Seekers cutting the flank over here as well, looking for a nice opportunity for a rear charge. A little bit of shades on those Dark Riders and Tread Spears over on the far side. That being said, a lot of this push is going to evaporate pretty quickly. We got Melkos in response. Plenty of bodies to just come in and push back the Seekers. They are glass cannons after all, but the frontline engagement went very poorly. We do have, another Pit of Shades. Both players just throwing out these pits here left and right. I guess it does make sense. Both took Lore of Shadows. And yeah, the Dark Elves able to somewhat secure a location here, but at the same time, a huge amount of their army just got wrapped up and destroyed very, very quickly. And importantly, both those Exalted Flamers are still alive with plenty of their ammunition left, and probably both paid for themselves already, if I'm being honest. Yeah, about 1,000 damage value there, 900 damage value there. Maybe not quite, but getting pretty close. Just such a painful unit if you're not able to respond quickly. It does look like this unit of Seekers, though, is likely to be gone in relatively short order as well. Another just disgusting opportunity for a shade Pit of Shades right here. I'm sure this Herald is just salivating at the opportunity to just eliminate that entire pocket. But let's see. Both players very quickly destroying each other. Yeah, balance power not getting too far out of whack. A lot of these Seekers just fall apart so quickly. And the nice thing about the Dark Elves is, you know, they can come back from routes, so their unit switch, their leadership breaks. They're not just going to instantly die. You know, demonic instability, I hate less than crumbling because it is less good than crumbling. But there we go. Dark Elf Chariot's going to run in here and just try and engage the Exalted Flamer in melee, not allow it too much more opportunity to shoot. Terminate the entire village. That being said, it doesn't have a lot of ammunition left, so you honestly probably just let it shoot at this point and go do other things with these chariots, like be rear charging these Plague Bearers. Right now, it's really just the Plague Bearers and the Exalted Flamers and the Alluris, so yeah, Demons of Chaos running out of steam in a pretty big way, but maybe these Plague Bearers actually can do it. Little Pit of Shades from the Supreme Sorceress of Shadows. That is going to be some pretty good damage. Of course, Plague Bearers being incredibly tough is actually going to be a huge benefit in this situation, in this kind of late game slog, as they try and finish units off. Their demonic leadership and their incredibly tough nature makes them very, very tricky to finish off with tattered units like this, potentially. Although, one thing, Black Ark Corsairs, their ranged attacks obviously can just kite them to death, so we'll see. We'll see. From, oh yeah, like this Exalted Flamer, pretty nice play, bringing in the chariots to surround it. Then we've got the Hellbrunai, Or are these just regular Dread Spears? Oh, they look like a Peliburnai. Regular Dread Spears here. Yeah, able to get some nice damage and bring the Flamer down. It does involve the Supreme Sorceress also coming into combat as well, fighting the Elores, momentarily at least, and then scooting on away. This is a very, very thematic matchup, at least from the Lord perspective. Having the Elores fighting Dark Elves for, reasons. Oh yeah, that Flamer's definitely doing some pretty good work. Ooh, we get the army ability coming in. Narcissism, absolutely devastating. Can't move and silenced. You can see that the Herald of Slaanesh really wants to just disengage from these Dread Spears and come over and clobber the Supreme Sorceress. That would be a good way to get back in this game, because right now the Daemons, yeah, running out of steam in a pretty significant way. This Plague Bear is getting pulled out into no man's land, which is definitely a good call. Just punish them for having bad speed. And meanwhile, a Melkoth Mystifying Miasma going after the Corsairs, making sure that the ranged response isn't too devastating. I don't think there are really any ranged units left. Yeah, a couple. Scourge Runner Chariots getting some damage in, and actually, yeah, should be focusing their shots almost exclusively on the Herald probably at this point, if they do have ammunition left, but they're going to try a little bit in melee to support. Get a nice little charge here on those Plague Bears, then run straight through. Even like poke the Flamer a little bit there. But I wouldn't necessarily have them stick around in this melee engagement to get hit by the Flamer or by the Supreme Sword or the Elores or whatever, Herald. Elores is the hero level character. Anyway, Melkoth Mystifying Miasma does finish off those Dread Spears. Not enough to save the Flamer, but the Herald now is able to get an engagement against the Supreme Sorceress. Gets a few direct attack animations, and the Supreme Sorceress is forced to run away. Melkoth Mystifying Miasma trying to finish off the Plague Bearers there. She has to stay close, though, just because she doesn't actually have the speed to outrun the Herald, so really just has to stay close to whatever screening elements that she has left. Screen through the spears, screen through the swords, screen through whatever else is left, and yeah, here's where the Plague Bearers, this one remaining unit being so tough, comes into play. She takes a couple more attack animations from the Herald. Another Melkoth Mystifying Miasma from the Herald as well, looking to punish maybe the Bleak Swords, Dread Spears here. Yeah, the unit that's most threatening to her directly, makes sense. Supreme Sorceress unfortunately routes here. And that's going to be it. Wow, very, very close finish, honestly. Really great back and forth there at the end. But ultimately, the single entity engagement just going in Borain's favor is, again, the deciding factor. The Elores having, pretty clearly better melee stats. That one's not, I wouldn't chalk up as much to lucky dice rolls as what we saw in one of the earlier games. Not necessarily peer opponents. The Herald is just better in melee combat, and so it's sort of an expected outcome given a 1v1 between those two. Even if the Supreme Sorcerer somehow was able, through amazing dice rolls, able to win that, or somehow able to pull out the win there, I just think, yeah, with how healthy this one Plague Bearer was in particular, you'd need more Melkoths, or even better, a Pit of Shades to try and finish off. Maybe you can get him on a leadership, but it would be tough for sure. But regardless, incredible series. Really, really incredible series. The Plague Bearer's job is just to die slowly here, and one of them actually ends up paying for themselves. The Seekers are fairly well limited, but the Flamers, man, both these Exalted Flamers just feasting on value. Absolutely grill master here. And Rider of Rohan's army, the Regiment of Renown Scourge Chariot, of course, Ravagers here. They do quite well. The Handbows also pretty solid value all the way. Well, I say pretty solid value. Only one of them actually ends up paying for themselves, and had they been able to get a few more volleys on key targets, I think that actually would have made a pretty significant difference. It was such a close game, especially like the volleys on the Herald. She's got no armor basically, right? So by her fast speed, if she gets pinned somewhere and the crossbows can get a handful of shots on her, quite devastating. But that's it for me for today. Hopefully you enjoyed this game, this series. If you missed any of the other earlier games in the series, be sure to go back and check them out on my channel. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you next time.